It's the cold hard truth. Everyone really want to know what's going on with her show. Just get on the air and you will know it's Sandra. The queen of the mile road is here, helping people from everywhere. Get on the phone and you will hear Sandra. Now she will tell you how it goes, but don't you ever step on her toes, 'cause you will hear the cold hard truth from Sandra. They say she's the hero in town, helping people from all around. You get a call, your money is found, it's Sandra. Some will call her late at night just to say that there is a fight, and she will not just leave it alone. She'll get up and call on the phone, and when politics starts on her show, everyone really wants to know the way that things will really go with Sandra. And some will start to criticize, get on the show and tell pure lies, but someday we'll realize it's Sandra. And when they start to argue again, she'll pull the heads to the wind, and soon you will be a friend of Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra.
Good morning, K-Man. Happy Friday. How's everybody doing this beautiful Friday morning? Hope you guys are fantastic. We got some breaking news this morning, so let's get to that here in a second. And I see we got a special guest in the studio. Surprise, surprise, waiting for us. All right, so we're going to get that going here. Give me one quick second so I can send out the links to everyone. Make sure you guys are all tuned in with the correct links. So I'm just going to update those for you quickly. And yeah, it's Friday. So hope you got some nice, fun weekend plans, some safe weekend plans just to kind of enjoy the weekend with family. Of course, we've got, don't forget, please, Wednesdays, Ash Wednesday came up kind of quick this year on us, but the annual agriculture show will be on Ash Wednesday. So we posted some details on how you can get to use the park and ride service. And we're encouraging everyone to utilize the park and ride service because, of course, they've designed that to make it easier on all of you. Less traffic, you get there, dropped off safely, and then it's just great for everyone. All right, so we are live now. All the links have been updated. Let me just refresh and send those out to all of you. CMRTV.com, of course. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And you can also find us on Bobo 103.1 FM in the mornings as well. So fantastic. All right. It's Friday. What can I say? Nothing to complain about On my end, let me just kind of check one thing with one of my links. Gotta make sure that this is the correct one. And then we're off to the races. Let me just edit this really quickly. Yeah, there we go. Now that looks like the correct link. How about that? Fantastic. All right, we do have the Minister of Education and Training coming on this morning as well, the Honorable Ralston Anglin. So we will be catching up with him and find out quite a bit about, what he's been, my apologies, what he's been up to. So let me just see here now. For some reason, this is not fetching the new link for me. Give me 1 second. Let me just see what's technology, what this tech situation is going on here. Okay, I'm gonna just redo this. And then let's see what Facebook is saying. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in. So there's a major incident happening this morning in Georgetown. So the police are on location. They have a section of Mary Street cordoned off. We're hearing that there is, or there was some sort of a stabbing incident there that they are now investigating. So some of my sources are saying that the person may be deceased, but the police have actually not said that themselves. So we will wait. Instead of speculating on that part of it, we will wait until the authorities have given us the official word. But what we do know for sure is that a serious police investigation is underway as the RCIPS has the area closed off to the public. So if you live in the vicinity of Mary Street, I know some of you guys do overnight work. You won't be able to, probably get in and out as easily this morning. So please be patient with the police whilst they carry out their investigations. And as soon as they, no doubt, have the place properly secured and their investigations are completed, they'll notify us that the area has been reopened. Okay? All right, so lots going on this weekend. We definitely want you guys to get involved in the weekend activities. And so I want to encourage you all to please, make sure that you are safe this weekend. And one of the big events that's happening this weekend that you definitely got to go out for is the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage is putting on a really big event at Pedro Castle, where they're going to have the opportunity for Caymanians to get to do a preview of The Bluff, which is Frankie Flowers' new movie. And guess what? Who do we have in the studio? But Frankie Flowers himself. So let's give Frankie, this is actually his first time, I'm pretty sure. Let's give him a virtual round of applause as he joins us on this morning's show. Good morning, Frankie.
Good morning, Miss Sandra. Yes, long-time listener, first-time caller. That's what the saying goes, I think. Yes.
yes. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you here. First of all, we got a glimpse of the movie. Ventisha did come on a couple days ago. I think it was Tuesday. The days just go together. And we got to see the preview for the movie. OMG, it looks amazing.
Thank you.
Let me congratulate you. I love it.
Thank you. I'm happy to see it.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the idea for the film. I love the fact that you have chosen a very strong, character to play like the hero. I feel like the heroine in this story is a woman who's out there kicking some butt. So I'm like, yes, I love it. So tell us a little bit about the idea. Where did the script come from? Like, what's the process?
Absolutely. So, yeah, the Bluff is the story of a woman living in Cayman Brac in the 1840s. And
Mm-hmm.
essentially, pirates invade the island. She has to protect her family from them and then and sort of protect the country. But it's a bunch of twists and turns and action movie stuff that happens in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very exciting. And, for us, I'm sure you'll appreciate this, but when you go back in the archives and look around, it's like we talk about the seafarers, we talk about the people who like went to Mosquito Keys and brought back things, and but it was the women who stayed behind who built the island, right? It's the women who actually made the
Mm-hmm.
society. So it was kind of fun to be able to pay respect to that, and in an exciting way, in a different kind of way.
Yeah. Yep, it's fantastic. So you've got some heavy hitters. Priyanka is actually in the movie. How did you arrange that?
Oh, man,
That's
she is.
fantastic.
Thank you. No, she is a force, man. She is. She's incredible. Her work ethic, her talent, and just the loveliest person. So we were working with. So the producers are the Saldana sisters, Cicely Marielle and Zoe Saldana,
Mhm.
and the Russo brothers. So we got a whole family situation going on with the Russos, the
Mhm.
Saldanas, and Priyanka had worked with them. And so they made the introduction. She really loved the idea of this in the same way you said, like the
Mhm.
idea of a female heroine. But, we also want to make it grounded and authentic and real. So when you see the movie,
Mhm.
like it's violent, it's brutal, but it's not like a bunch of aerobatic flips and da-da-da. And like she's picking up a conch shell and she hits someone
Mhm.
in the head. You know what I mean? Like it's like real,
Yeah.
visceral and authentic. And she was just, she goes all in. She did so much of her own stunts. You can see on Instagram the bruises on her arm.
Wow.
She's a real bad one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice. This is amazing. So the film is like the script is taking place right in the Cayman Brac, but did you film any of it in Cayman Brac? Because I know you have to get creative with how you actually do the filming and stuff like that. So where was it actually filmed?
So we did a little bit of both. So we filmed on the
Okay.
Gold Coast of Australia, and then
Okay.
and then I came down. We did some in Barkers, and then Barkas. I always spell it away, and you got to say it a different way. So
Yeah, yeah.
Barkas, and then we went to the Bracken. We did what
Okay.
you call LiDAR scanning. So we scanned the whole bluff so that we could create things digitally because you don't want the actors up that high. And then we
Mhm.
shot a bunch of footage in the caves and actually of the bluff that's in the movie. So you get authentic pieces of the image, but the a lot of the action and big stuff was done in Australia just because we had
Mm.
500 crew and had to build a sound stage with the caves and things that you really couldn't do practically and safely. So we had
Mhm.
that balance, but it was great. We had this production designer named Phil Ivey who worked on Lord of the Rings and District 9, and we worked with him and Mr. Henry Matu as our cultural advisor to make sure that everything was, even from the color of the sand, was going to be matching, and the house and the cook room and all the thing that she used to thatch planting and all that stuff was going to be extremely
Mhm.
well replicated, so that when you went there it was like stepping back in time. My father went to set, and
Mm.
he was, this is his first time in Australia, but we bought out this cane field, so it was probably about 10 miles in every direction. You couldn't
Mhm.
see nothing. No planes, no telephone poles, no houses, nothing. So it was like you were in the middle of this old Caymanian house with just sugarcane and bush and snakes, big snakes.
Mm.
But we don't have big
Wow.
snakes. They have big snakes. And that was it. It was
Yeah.
that vibe.
Wow. So, Australia is known for being kind of rugged terrain, and
Yeah.
they have, you're talking about big snakes. They got everything in Australia, I feel like, is poisonous practically. So, how did you survive like the real Australia? Were there any close calls with anything that you're aware of?
Well, we have a snake wrangler who comes out and like taps the ground. And I gotta be honest, it's a little dubious because he just has a stick and he's tapping. I'm like, wait, that's the only thing between me and anaconda. But it worked. First of all, Australians are the loveliest people. You're right, they're rugged, they're
Yeah.
hardworking, but they remind me of Caymanians. They're just like, they're down to work, they're cool, it's not a bunch of complaining. They come to work and listen, and when the
Uh-huh.
day is done they enjoy their time off. But really, really good people. So we had a snake wrangler. There was the spiders are really what'll kill you, I think. But we didn't, we didn't have many incidents.
Mhm.
We're very blessed. God is good. He's looking out for us.
Okay. Wow. All right. I'll take your word for it because I'm no fan of spiders. So
No.
so this is pretty exciting. So it's an Amazon Prime film. And so, that's also really great because Amazon Prime they have millions and millions of subscribers. So undoubtedly, this is going to be a huge movie. In terms of the advertising for it, how does that part work? Obviously we know about it here in Cayman, but how do you ensure that the greater world is actually familiar with your work like this?
Well, what's fun is, with streaming, as you said, like it's great because it reaches, 250 million or something
Yeah.
people at once. And the way it works, I'm sure people will notice is like so the movie will be available on February 25th on Prime. So the bulk of the marketing starts this week, essentially. So, because people see things. In the old days, you would see a trailer like 6 months or a year ahead of time. And some people still do that. But nowadays, you see something, you want to watch it. So, the conventional wisdom is like you do a blitz, 2-3 weeks before, so that by the time people are loving it, they can start to watch it a few days later. So you'll see, we got a bunch of stuff ramping up this week. They do traditional advertising, billboards. We'll have one in Times Square and in LA. They're doing some advertising on NBA and we have our LA premiere on Tuesday. We start global press Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the following week in New York. And then the movie released on the 25th. So you'll see a lot more of that. And then, obviously social is a great format. Priyanka and Carl are wonderful at that. Priyanka got 100 million followers. She is, she knows her Instagram, she knows her audience. And she's everyone who's seen the movie really loves it. And that goes a long way with the marketing team at Amazon, who are wonderful. They get the movie, they understand the movie. They let us do this screening in Cayman because they knew that the authenticity and getting the stamp from the home people was the most important thing to go out as the marketing begins on Monday to know, hey, we're going out with the back end of the Caymanian people. And, I got to go home, show it to our folks and have that blessing and go from there.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. Totally amazing. So you're on island now, Frankie, and you will be at the screening on Saturday, and then Sunday you guys actually go to Cayman Brac. So the Brackers, you're bringing it right to their backyards so that they can come out and enjoy it. This is amazing. I think that this is probably the first time that we've had a screening event, definitely of this magnitude, here in the Cayman Islands. So how are you feeling about the screening at Peter Castle on Saturday and then going on to the Brac on Sunday?
To say that I'm excited is kind of an understatement, but the Ministry of Youth, Heritage, Culture has been incredible, and not just incredible, but like the vision of Isaac and Ventisha and the team. Sorry, I need to call him Minister Rankin now. And his team is the idea of doing a screening at a heritage site, right, at the birthplace of democracy, of building like this custom screening room, at Pedro Castle. Is just, it's such an honor. I mean, nothing we do is ever going to be as significant as the other things that happened at Pedro Castle over the years, but to be even just a small part of that history is wonderful. And, a big part of the things that we always talk about, me and Isaac, is like this idea of making sure that this generation knows that culture and heritage is for them and will meet them where they're at, right? Because I went into the archive. I did a lot of research on this movie. I can't expect every teenager to go into the archive and read through letters from the 1800s, right? Like you gotta bring it to Instagram. You gotta bring it to movies. You gotta bring it to music. You gotta bring it. Cayman culture is for everybody, right? Is for. By the way, history is what happened last week, right? History is not just what happened 500 years ago, right? So this idea of transforming, a site that people know, but now we can look at it and have a different experience with it because you'll be able to see this movie, this really awesome, visceral, world-class action movie. I love that, and I love the setting of that. And we got a few friends that have, come down from the marketing team and some of the producers. And so we'll all be on hand to greet people and to celebrate the movie. And it's great, man. I'm excited.
No, this is awesome. I'm
Are you
excited.
coming?
Unfortunately, I was just about to say, unfortunately, I'm going to be off island. So
What?
I will not be there. I know. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I've got, next week is midterm break for the kids. So I'm taking Gigi on her little midterm break trip. So yeah, I'm going to miss all the excitement. I'm so upset about it, but I will send a representative, in my place, and yeah, we'll get some great amazing footage, and we'll be sending love definitely from overseas. So yeah, this is amazing. So Shaka Zulu says Priyanka seems to have done the Caymanian woman role real justice. Speaking as a Caymanian viewer, I think she's truly believable in her commitment to protecting their family interests. So we're going to watch a little bit of preview. We have the trailer, which we played earlier this week, but just in case somebody missed it, I'm going to just grab it again because it's truly amazing. Like when I'm watching this reel, I'm like, oh my God, like you already feel like you're in the movie and you are so ready to see this. Let me just see where I put it now. So this is pretty exciting. There's some real action. Did she have a stunt double or did she do a lot of stuff herself?
She did a lot of stuff herself, but everyone has a double.
Yeah.
Even just to test it out first. A lot of times
Right.
the double will run it, and then the actor will run it just to clear out. Because
Yeah.
the stunt double they have a whole different skill set. Of keeping things safe, and so big up to all the stunt performers. I mean, they really. You talk about blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, they break bones for movies, and that's incredible. So yeah, she did have a double, but she did a lot of things you'll see on screen is her, right? So she did it herself, the things that we shot on. But yes, she always has a double who trains her and will do the stunt and then bring her through the stunt and how to do it safely so that she can focus on performing during the stunt.
All right, here we go. Let's watch the long form one because it really gets you into the plot. Here we go, folks. All right, this is it. So just a reminder to our audience, it is a rated R movie. So for the preview, the ministry has said no kids under, I think, 14. And I would say any kid should go with a parent for sure. All right, so here we go.
The bounty I seek is worth more than any gold.
Come here. Wake up. Come on. Get up. Mama's okay.
No one leaves this island until I collect my property. Why did you betray me? You think I would just let you slip away?
Mama!
We have subdued the woman. Have you now?
You come to my house, threaten my family!
Bloody Mary! I'm told you have a beautiful new family. They know who you really are.
I'm still your mother, and I will do anything in my power to protect you. Look away.
How are you so good at killing people?
Your father didn't marry me for my cooking.
It's you those men are looking for.
Let them look.
Dead or alive, gentlemen.
They're gonna find us, and they're gonna kill us.
Did you miss me, darling?
This only ends with the sand soaked in his blood or mine.
Wowee. I must tell you that I will never see a conch in the same way ever again. That was lit.
Yes, thank
Frankie.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, so much action. Oh my God. That's
Yeah, man.
amazing.
It's fun and it's brutal. It's fun, but it's real. I mean, you're gonna feel it. It feels authentic, and even the violence. That was the justification. It's like if you're a woman, you got two guys coming to fight. Like you gotta do what you gotta do, right? So we all the action we looked at that through character, this kind of mama bear situation, but also being like, well, we gonna fight dirty. What you gotta do? Like what I mean? These two guys come to your house. You gotta do what you gotta do. And the machete and the
Yeah, no, listen, I mean, I can totally relate. Like when she hears her little girl crying out, and then the man knows the kid is there, that brings out another level of protection in any parent, especially moms. They're like, listen, now it's on. So I absolutely love it. I will be tuned in. I will be watching this once it drops on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Shaka says, as a fan of yours, I'm truly impressed with your portrayal and consistency of Caymanian style storytelling. And, that's true. Like you always try to focus on, there's a story to be told about the Cayman Islands. And so I absolutely love that as well. Good morning, Miss Lucille, joining us from UK. Irvelyn says, wow, Bloody Mary. This is an awesome movie. Risa's here for it. Risa says, congrats, Frankie, class of 96.
That's right, forever. John Gray High School, RIP. I saw they raised the whole building, man. It broke my heart, but I understand there was some asbestos or something. But yes, class of 96 forever.
So someone was mentioning, Frankie, that you and I need to sit down and have a proper one-on-one interview, right? This isn't it. This is just a little teaser. But someone was talking about the fact that Miss Nasaria Shillette was your drama teacher, and how proud she must be of what you've been able to accomplish, putting both yourself professionally and the Cayman Islands on the map. Do you ever touch bases with people like your drama teacher? I was talking to Kevin Dawkins the other day. He's like, Frankie and I were in a musical group.
Yeah, with a quartet. Image. You get a little quartet. I love Kevin. Sure that the is like, he's good. No, Nasaria is my heart. I talk to her, quite a bit. She inspires me every day. I have all her books and I talk with her. And even on this movie, I made sure she linked with Priyanka when Priyanka was down here. And no, man, Mystical really opened up. She was a huge step for us in not just in high school, but just, she went to, she had come back from university and studied abroad. And so when she came back to have a Caymanian who had done things, I think she went to Howard. And so it was she had done American plays, and then she brought back that with a Caymanian lens. So that whole idea of, with the Bluff we're lucky because we could set it in Cayman and all those things, but just being a Caymanian storyteller. Caymanians are natural storytellers, and doesn't matter if you're telling a story from Cayman or not, you're always going to have that Caymanian lens. And so she was really instrumental in helping us find our voices and the confidence in ourselves to go your voice matters, your story is excellent. We did some acting back then, which I believe the videos are somewhere out there, but let's not go looking for them. But me and Luigi and all those guys, we were out doing plays in Trinidad and all that. Really it was, her, Mr. Henry Matu. When I used to work at a theater, I was a lighting tech there and a sound tech. Isaac Rankin. Isaac was the head of the lights, and I did the follow spots. So me and him would work there till late night, 1 o'clock in the morning on a school night. We were in there, and then I went into radio. Just I know this is a different format because there was no broadcast back then. But I worked at CITN as a cameraman. Gilbert Nicoletta, Donna Bush, all those people helped. April Cummings helped guide my journey. And then Randy Marin at Z99, I was a DJ there. So, I was blessed to be able to touch and have opportunities here that, by the time I went to college, people were like, wait, you worked at a radio station and a TV station and a theater? How is that possible? And it was all from here. That's it,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That is fantastic. And I know that I've heard through the grapevine that Priyanka has fallen in love with the beautiful Cayman Islands. I mean, how can you not, So I know, unfortunately, she won't be here this weekend, but, tell her this is home away from home anytime. Just come and do business.
Yes.
We absolutely love it. So again, congrats to you. And I just want to encourage our listeners to, come out this weekend, celebrate with Frankie. They're going to do a special viewing. Now they've made accommodations for more people to be able to come out. I mean, it might be, standing room or sitting in the lawn room only, but that's fine. So there's going to be this one on Sunday, Cayman Brack at the Ashton Ruddy Center at 3:30 p.m. Screening starts at 4, but get there early, make sure you get there early and you can get a comfortable seat. And then, of course, the primary viewing here on Grand Cayman will be on Saturday. And we're encouraging everyone to, let me just grab the visual for that as well. We're encouraging everyone to come out for that screening for sure if you're in Grand Cayman. So no cost to this. This is the government putting this on. The Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, Youth Sports, Culture and Heritage putting on this event, and it's sure to be a lot of fun. But you got to RSVP so that they have an idea of the numbers. I can tell you they've already exceeded the numbers anyway, but that's okay. They still want to have an idea of, if they need to get additional seating or what kind of lawn setup. So on Saturday, it's going to be gates open at 5:30 p.m. and the reception, they're going to do a little reception starting at 6, and then the screening starts at 7. Take a blanket, because it's been kind of cool. Frankie, we've been getting some weather lately.
I like that though. That's nice because
know.
we're gonna be outside and this is custom.
Yes.
You don't want it to be too hot. So I'm excited about that. And you don't have to dress up either. Just know that we're gonna be casual in vibes, and if people want to, they can. But there'll be people dressed as pirates. We're gonna try and keep it like a vibe. But you're right, Miss Sandra. Please RSVP so we know who's coming. And if you're an invited guest and the RSVP's link, just reply to the email. I've been getting a lot of that WhatsApp, like, so just reply to the email if you're invited guest, or if you see the link, RSVP, and it'll be over in time for the Freddie McGregor show. So if anybody want to leave that and go to the next show, we got you. Soon as sundown, we're gonna fire it up, and it's a lean, mean 90-something minutes. So it's it's gonna be a vibe. It's a nonstop action, right?
All right, sweet. And Plain and Straight says, you've made Cayman so proud. Irvlin says, I applaud you, Frankie. Miss Eve would have been so proud of you. Oh,
Touch made me cry this morning. So
yeah. So Shaka Zulu says, finally, a pirate story that is truly relatable to Caymanian history and not just a typical Hollywood portrayals of pirate life. Irvlin says, come in on a Valentine PJs.
Yes. That's the vibe.
Why not? All right, Frankie, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and good luck for the events this weekend. Good luck with the film. It looks amazing. Like I said, once it drops. Carla Rodriguez says, how do we RSVP? Let me show you the thing here again. So just scan that QR code, and that's going to let them know that you're coming.
Yes,
so
and I think the Ministry of the ministry has on their Instagram too, right? So if you want to go, you can either. So I'm Frank E.Flowers if you want to find me on Instagram, but I have links in there that'll go to the ministry and the Ministry of Youth, Culture, Heritage, and Sports. They have a link on their Instagram too that you can find this. So yeah, man.
Yep. And Shaka's already thinking about the next project. So any other plans for future Caymanian stories being told on the big screen?
I would love to, this is my heart. So, we're gonna try and get that done. Let's see where this goes. And by the way, I want to film more things here. I work with the Film Commission as well. So we want to be able to build infrastructure to be able to shoot more of these movies and bigger movies here on the island, and also to give real careers and way to live off of this thing to Caymanians, so they don't have to fly and go live in LA for 20 years just to make it happen. So that's my dream. I want to move back here and be able to continue to live here and be with my family and do my craft. And so I also want others to be able to do that too, because we need people to tell our stories. And I also just close with this, is that this was 20 years in the making to get here, but it starts with just like what Nasaria did. It's remembering that your voice is important, that your stories are important, whether it's a little 2-second clip for TikTok, you know what I mean? Like that is storytelling, that is culture, that is, taking a moment in time and showing it to the world. And every time I see that, I've been off Instagram for a long time, so I'm getting back on again. So when I look at some of these sites, and I was like, it makes me smile. I'm like, oh, it's great that it's entertainment. It's really that simple, right? I'm entertained for 20 seconds. You know, you're like, oh, this is entertaining. It's funny. It's thoughtful. And so I encourage all the, you know, content makers out there in the world, in our island, to pick up their voices. And obviously, Miss Sandra, you've paved the way in a whole new way, because, you know, you've opened up this channel of, you know, that has become a major force, and if not like the dominant force in terms of reaching audiences and getting to the people directly. And the fact that, you know, you know, I remember when it first came out, it was like, you know, it was like, okay, it was the alternate, edgy, you know, like the Nikki Fink. If you guys don't know Nikki Fink, and Nikki Fink, you know, she started Deadline Hollywood, right? Everyone, Variety, all these like big magazines, like Nikki Fink, who's this lady with this thing? Now it's the only news source, right? In Hollywood. And so again, I look for who's that next Sandra, right? Who's that next person who's going to come up and find that other way, that little backdoor way of like, oh, you know what? No one's doing this. Let me jump in here. Let me go meet people where they're at and try and, you know, be heard.
Absolutely. So, I love it. I love it. We got a phone call. Good morning, caller. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Let me just make sure that we got the proper connection here. All right. Hello. Good morning. Still can't hear you, mama. Let me see. I was charging up the phone last night, so sometimes I do have to restart it. All right, let me just restart the phone real quick, and then we're going to call you. But if you want to speak to Frankie, give us a quick second. Let me just do a quick reboot. Sometimes you're going to restart these devices there, Frankie. But
technology.
I know. Jim says, congratulations. All the best for future endeavors. You're welcome, Carla. She says she's so proud of you. She looks like she's going to be there. And,
that Bad Bunny got everybody on the Spanish now. Talking about Isla de Cayman.
Right? Trust me. Shaka is wondering if you're open to Kimanian story submissions, like a script. You got a script there, Shaka Zulu? What's that about? Wow. I know what that's about. You never know. Never know. All right, let me just see if we can get this caller back on the line. So Jim says Kimanian's got talent.
Yes.
That's for sure. Without a doubt.
I like that. CGT. No, that used to be like Champion House back in the day. And if I remember that, when you go hang on the wall, and that was literally like CGT. It was like K-Maya's Got Talent out there. It was just, you know, I remember those days, and you would just sit, and it was pure entertainment for hours. You'd lean up on the car, and it would just be wild, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Morning, caller.
Morning, Sandy.
Hey, how are you doing?
Morning. I'm great.
Awesome.
How are you?
Good.
Yeah, Frankie, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, this is George, Ego, your friend.
Jigo, what's up, brother?
Yeah.
I didn't see you whenever I come in. I always look forward to seeing you by the airport, but I didn't see you this time, man.
I know. I saw your dad yesterday. He said, "Look so good." Hey, Frankie, I still want you to do that movie for me. You know, The Big Inferno. You remember that story I was telling you about the government house when it burnt down?
The government house, right?
Your dad, your dad was very instrumental in that, because back in the day he was delivering water, and we didn't have a very good supply back then. And I remember your dad going back and forth with his truck, supplying our truck to help out that fire. I have a portion of the script written down. I really would like you to get your hand on that and see if you can do something with it. But it's a part of our history.
Yeah.
Okay. It's something I would really like you to do, Frankie. You need to get in contact with me.
Okay, man. I believe I have your number. You have mine. We'll link it up.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Right. Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
I know that it's a artistic talent and challenge to be able to take like an idea, just a nugget, and then convert that into an entire script that can get you a 90-minute movie, right? So one day we're gonna, like I said, sit down and talk about in depth, like the process and, you know, all this exciting stuff. But again, congratulations, Frankie. Marshall joining us from North Carolina says you look all grown up without the curly hair.
No, right? It's the corporate look, man. This is the, you know what I mean? It's the press tour, clean. You know what I mean? I've been looking for my old barber. I can't find him. I gotta find him though. But this was, I just get the LA version. But you know, back to the young, sprightly, you know, ready for the corporate look. So thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, good luck this weekend, Frankie. Thanks for coming on the program this morning. We really appreciate it. And yeah, enjoy your stay. Welcome home.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you
and
so
we'll check
much.
it soon. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, folks. That's Frank E. Flowers. You guys can catch the Bluff this weekend. We got a viewing for you right here in Grand at Pedro St. James Castle, which I think is also a very fitting location for this. That's going to be gates open 5:30 on Saturday. Screening starts at 7. They're going to do a little reception in between. Please RSVP. And then on Sunday, we're taking it to the Sister Island, beautiful Cumber Brack, a little bit earlier at the Ashton Ruddy Center. Reception at 3:30, screening at 4. Again, RSVP to that one as well. There's a separate QR code, so make sure that you're scanning the correct QR code depending on which event you'd like to go to. All right, no time to waste. We have the Minister of Education and Training in the studio with us this morning as well. So put your virtual hands together and let us welcome the Honorable Ralston Malachi Anglin. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sandra. Good morning to all of your audience who is tuned in, wherever you are. Certainly a good morning, and hopefully you're having a good day. And it was good listening to the conversation you were just having with Frankie, because he's an amazing young man, and it's all about pushing ahead with dreams, right?
Yeah.
And this film is obviously a culmination of a lot of years of work and hard work, and it's a good example for all of us.
Yeah.
All of us as humans, whether we're adults, whether we're children. It's all about your dream, and it doesn't matter where it starts, and it's about where you end, and it's the hard work you're going to put in between to get there.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Looking forward to actually seeing the film myself. Looks really, really action-packed and good. But you know, the thing about your ministry, Minister, is education is just the foundation of everything. So incredibly important. But it's also about making children and young people, even their parents sometimes, believe that, you know what, we're not going to remain stagnant. We're going to elevate ourselves, elevate our brains, the way that we think. And when we do that with education being that foundation, right, the sky is literally the limit. Like I can't stress enough. People know in this program, I'm always like hitting it, like get your education. It's not just a piece of paper. It is about broadening your perspective on life, getting that experience, going abroad, seeing different things, learning different things. And it starts, the foundation of all of that starts in the earliest years. And I know you've been working very, very closely with the early childhood associations and making sure that the support system is there for Caymanian children to get an amazing head start. So let's talk about you. You've got a lot of projects going on. I received a list yesterday from your team of some of the things that you wanted to speak about this morning. And I said to myself, as usual, the minister is very, very ambitious. But we're gonna try to get through. I've got a hard stop at 9:30 today, but we're gonna try to get through as many of these as we possibly can. So I thank you for really just hitting the pavement, and as soon as you got back in to office this time with this ministry. This is amazing. So let's talk about the Government High School Scholar. What, first of all, is that? Is it a program? Is it a recognition of our students? Tell us a bit about that.
Well, last night we had the privilege of celebrating two absolutely amazing Caymanian young ladies, Chloe Reed and Maria Robinson. Both of these young ladies attended and graduated from the Clifton Under High School. Both of these young ladies has in excess of 15 1 or A passes at O level. They're both now attending and their sixth form colleges here in Cayman, two of the most outstanding sixth form colleges in the world, I might add. And then they're going to be going on to further study. What this is a program that was started a few years ago where the most outstanding high school student in a government school is selected for a up to $100,000 scholarship. And so it's all about, should one of them go to an Ivy League school? We want to ensure that they have the greatest possibility of support and achieving their dream. And that and so it's children, young people that are operating at that level that would be getting in to the Harvards, the Yales, the Cambridges, the Oxfords, the very top universities in the world. And so last night was a wonderful celebration of them, their achievements, their families. It was so interesting to watch both of them and then hear their parents, because on the video clip there was reflections from both young ladies and from one of their parents, and then from some of their classroom teachers. And so as I listened, it just reminded me of what we were just talking about, which is dreaming big, but putting in the hard work. Nothing good comes easy. That's an old cliche, but it's true. It's true today, and it'll be true for all of eternity. Nothing good comes easy. And so that's what the Cayman Scholar program is about. Look forward to next year. The other interesting thing that we did and ensured was we brought some of the top performing students, current students at John Gray, Clifton Hunter, and the Lehman Scott High School in the BRAC to be in attendance. We wanted them to witness this occasion because we know that a number of those, well, all of those students that were in attendance are future Cayman scholars. Now, let me make it clear. This is selecting the very top. And that obviously doesn't take away from the incredible achievements that we've had in this year and in the current cohorts of the dual entry program, which is at UCCI and at St. Ignatius Catholic School and Preps A-level colleges. And there you see, so you have some fun pictures with some future Cayman scholars and some of the outstanding teachers that are leading those classrooms.
No, this is great. So it's wonderful to see how many people came out. What was the venue for this event last night?
So we did this at the Westin, at the
Okay.
ballroom at the Westin.
All right.
And so, yeah, the families came out, obviously, a lot of government officials, a lot of teachers, ministry, Department of Education Services reps, just to celebrate these two young ladies. And for those who weren't, who don't know their background, their story, Chloe is going to become an actuarial scientist. So right now she's doing A-level math, further math, economics, and computer science. And as you know, actuarial science is one of the most challenging careers, but it's one of the most rewarding careers. And it's certainly one that is needed in Cayman, because not only do we have a growing reinsurance sector in terms of registrations and presence of reinsurers locally, but that's a key area that the government is actually focusing on. You've heard the Premier speak many times about getting accredited through the U.S. reinsurance market, and the fact that we're pursuing the NAIC recognition. And so this is a young lady that is going to be able to provide that sort of degree and those sort of skills to a very relevant market that is existing but growing and growing rapidly in Cayman. Maria is right now doing biology, chemistry, and psychology for her A-levels, and she looks to become an OB-GYN. So she's going to be a doctor. And again, that's the sort of dreaming big that we're talking about, right? These two young ladies who, a few years ago would have been just small girls being guided by their families. And look, here they are now, having achieved that first level of success that's critically important, which is your O-level results. Now finalizing their A-levels and then going on to their tertiary education studies. But just a wonderful evening, inspiring evening, and something that, and I said to them last night that a couple of things, but notably, be humble, continue to work hard, but continue to be that example, right? Continue to show other young people this is the way, this is the journey that is possible for all young people in Cayman, because the opportunity is here. People talk, listen, a lot of times as adults, we can complain and we can moan and we can whine. The fact still is the Cayman Islands is the best place to be on God's green earth. We still have a lot of opportunity in this country. It's about us as parents in our homes from the time a child is born, trying to ensure you give them the best possible life chances. So it's about that foundation at home, because one thing that we know behind every child who's succeeding, every young person who's succeeding, is a foundation at home that supports them.
Yep, that's for sure. So tell us the history of this. Is this a new program?
No, this has been around a few years.
Okay.
And it's one that I'm looking at how we actually will modernize it as we move forward. In particular for students who then wind up going to the UK for university. Because as we know, the cost of tertiary studies in the UK is a fraction of that of in the US, right? So we think that we might be able to expand the program, in particular for those who are going to be studying in the UK.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Wow. That sounds very, very good. So that's one of many initiatives that you have been working on, Minister. We also know that the National Education Conference took place, was it 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Today, 2 weeks. Yeah. This
Mhm.
time is flying by.
30th of January.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about the highlights that came out of the National Education Conference. I know you had a guest speaker that was very, very well received. And what else was highlighted at the conference?
So Sandra, I'm not hearing you. Are you hearing me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
You can give me a thumbs up. Are you hearing me?
I can hear you.
I'll just continue on.
Yes.
The most important outcome
Mhm.
of the National Education Conference, I'm hearing you again now,
Okay, great.
has been, I've started my school tours. We started over in Cayman Brac at West End Primary School. This week, I visited the Savannah Primary School, or Joanna Clarke Primary School, and the Sir John A. Cumber Primary School. For me, having teachers say that this was the most impactful professional development day that they've had in years is all I need to know. That's all I needed to hear. And so I had already said to the chief officer that this isn't going to be something that's ad hoc. This has to be systemized. It has to be an annual event that happens every year on the school calendar, because we know that once we do it right, it is going to be critically important for teachers. Teachers often say, you ask us as educators to instruct differentially. How are you provisioning our professional development differentially? How are you ensuring that you're giving us the breadth and depth of professional development that meets us where we are to ensure that we're improving our standards? And so that's something we're paying very, very close attention to. Let me give an example. It makes no sense for us to have a professional development day that involves mathematics instruction, let's just say. And you have a person who's a reception or a year one teacher being given the type of instruction that is more applicable to, say, Key Stage 2. And that was direct feedback from teachers telling us, look, we need you to meet us where we are, because in meeting us where we are, that is how we're going to improve as practitioners. That's how we're going to be better instructors for all of our students that's in front of us every day. And so we paid very, very close attention to that in developing the day's activities and the day's program.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so good to get teachers say thank you and say we want more and we want that. And one of the things that I'm going to be working with the team on is looking at that day and ensuring that we're doing enough. Because as I visited Sir John Cumber Primary School yesterday, the thought hit me. I said, should this be a single day? Are we cramming too much? Are we rushing too much? Are we making sure that when we deliver, and let's just say that this is going to be the centerpiece for professional development, maybe we might need to think about whether we expand this to 2 days and incorporate that in the school calendar. But getting back to the actual conference, Sandra, I'm sure you listened, as most of us did, to the keynote speaker. And she was absolutely phenomenal and outstanding because she brought everyone in that room, whether you were a teacher or not, she brought everyone in that hall on the same page. Her theme was about purpose. Her theme was about community. Her theme was about school community. And sometimes we sort of forget that schools are just large communities. The communities of educators, teachers, students, support staff, moving and having their being on a day-to-day basis. And how is it that we're going to have the best possible impact on the lives of our children? And so her presentation, and it's one that I would recommend all parents to go back on YouTube and look at again, because it wasn't just a speech. She didn't just get up and talk to the audience. I was so impressed that she brought a PowerPoint presentation and used that as the centerpiece as to how she communicated with the audience, and had the stop periods in between where she made teachers reflect and ask them during her keynote speech to give her feedback. And that just brought everything home. So what it showed me was a great keynote speaker actually starts the day off in a real professional development fashion, because she was engaging teachers using her PowerPoint presentation and her speech, making them think, actually making them respond and be interactive. And I hadn't really seen a keynote speaker do it that way and do it that effectively. And so that just set the tone. That absolutely set the tone for what was an absolutely outstanding day. I want to also congratulate and thank all of our local teachers who were presenters, who led sessions. I popped in on a few through the day. I popped in on my favorite subject, the mathematic. One of the mathematic instruction PD sessions. And so there you had a Caymanian teacher leading that session, right? A math specialist in her system leading that session for all the teachers that picked that particular session to attend. We had fun, heritage, and cultural offerings. Another interesting outcome was, already in my first 2 visits at schools, a number of teachers said not only did they love the technical professional development courses, but they absolutely loved the heritage, and they asked for more, because they did say, look, a lot of us are not Caymanians, we're not from Cayman. And so the more we can be immersed in what it means to be a Caymanian is going to be the more effective classroom teachers we are, and the more we can connect and communicate with Caymanian children.
Absolutely.
And again, another very, very important point. Simple sounding, right, Sandra? but it's fact. But it's fact. So I popped into the Maypole session that they were having. And of course, again, teachers were fully engaged and having fun, because that's the other thing that a lot of times as adults and as parents, that we forget teachers are humans too.
Mm-hmm.
They were someone's kid, they're a parent, probably now. And they're humans. They're humans just like the rest of us, right? And so when you have professional development days, you have to have that wide range of offerings because it can't just all be just about technical, push. They're humans. That mix of delivery was absolutely phenomenal, absolutely incredible. I got to witness it for myself. I went into the cybersecurity
Mm-hmm.
session as well. And so just there, Sandra, ought to give you in the audience the flavor for what
Mm-hmm.
was on offer. And if you'd seen, and I'm sure you've seen the program, and including in the program for the day were all of the sessions. And I mean that when you look at that suite of offerings, every possible thing that any of our teachers could have been interested in was offered at the National Education Conference. And I'm just so happy that the day went off without a hitch, and that the most important outcome is that our teachers have said it's impactful and they wanted more. And we're now committed to ensuring that this becomes entrenched. Just as we
Mm-hmm.
have the opening of every school year, this now is going to be a permanent part of the school calendar.
And it was really nice, Minister, to see the government members come out and support as well. So we have a little shot here, and I know there was another one also of a lot of the ministers, taking time out of their busy schedules to come out and support this conference, make sure that they were in attendance. How impactful do you think that was in support of your teachers and, just Ministry of Education staff in general?
Well, it's a clear signal, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the premier, the attorney general, the deputy governor, when all of us show up, both my parliamentary secretaries were there. When everybody shows up, it shows that they're prioritizing teachers, they're prioritizing the conference, they're prioritizing education.
Mm-hmm.
Small, simple gesture, but an impactful, important message to send. And so I just want to say that my team and my colleagues did an outstanding job, and that support was there. But
Mm-hmm.
I want to pause here and say, Sandra, just how proud I am of the team that put the conference together. And I want to congratulate them. They did outstanding work to pull this off. I show up and it's a great conference. I pop in, there are great sessions, but there's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to congratulate the entire team at the ministry and the department. And again, as I said, for all teachers who actually led sessions and who fully engaged and participated in sessions. It was just a wonderful, wonderful day for our education fraternity, for our education community. It is about good, better, best. We don't drive standards. We're not going to continue to drive and get schools now from good to excellent if we are not strategic, empowering, innovative, inclusive, and ensure that we're having that impact so that we can drive. And in driving, it's about that support. The drive to excellence is about how are we going to support families in early years? How are we going to support our teachers every single day in the classroom? How are we going to keep schools safe communities, respectful communities? In building our system, you have to pay attention to all the details. We can't just sit here and say, oh, just need better teachers. Sandra, you can easily have an effective instructor, an effective teacher who does not have impact if you are not motivating them as a human being, if you're not showing them that they're important, showing them that they're heard, showing them that that you appreciate every day that they're showing up. Think about it. For any of us who are parents, think about the challenge of raising your own children. Think about how worried you are about them getting involved with drugs, getting pregnant early, not going to university.
Yes.
Think about all the things that we take on once you become a parent. Now, a teacher has 20-something children in front of them. 20-something children that, for the most part, are not their children. Because very rarely would you have obviously a parent, a teacher with their own child in their classroom, right? That wouldn't happen. So 20-something children that are not your biological children. And now every day, irrespective of what home they come from, irrespective of what special education need or disability they may have, you now have to take charge and care and love every one of those children. That's not easy. That is not easy. And so I take the business of taking care of our teachers very seriously. That's why these school visits, ministerial visits, are so impactful and so important, because when you are open, trusting, and honest enough to sit with just the teachers, no principal, no DES, just the teachers, and you give them that safe space where they can say whatever they want. No one is going to be saying to the principal, "Ooh, teacher XYZ said this, that said that," right? That is greatly, greatly empowering. And already the visits are starting to show some trends just through 3 schools, and we're already starting to see some trends emerge that is going to lead to some new policy priorities. Sandra, if I was to take just 30 seconds to segue, because I've said this at the beginning of every meeting with our teachers, is we explain what we're doing and why. So firstly, we do a quick tour of the school plant. You want to see for yourself the condition and what exists on the campus, so that when teachers are saying something to you, you already have it directly in your mind because you've just walked the campus. We then have the Department of Education staff. They leave at that point, and it's just myself and the ministry team left. And so myself, the chief officer, deputy chief officer, that's it. We meet with the principal and their senior team by themselves. We then listen to them, hear their points of view. They give us all their feedback, wish lists, what's going well, what's going not so well, what could improve the system. Then once we've met with them, all classroom teachers are met with. So we explain that, but then on top of that, I'm now able, from my first tour of duty as minister, to actually show them in a real, tangible way that this isn't going to be just a talk shop. Because the fact is, I could hold these meetings, it could just be a talk shop. In 2009, when we ran and had a manifesto, we had, as all manifestos would, a section in education. The section in education had what we saw as the priorities that was off of research, listening to parents, listening to teachers, and just having general knowledge of our system. After the tours, the government at the time, I as minister, went to caucus, and we pivoted. Nowhere in our manifesto did we say that the number one priority was going to be early childhood care and education. What came out of those tours and sitting with teacher body after teacher body after teacher body, telling me children in Cayman begin behind. From the time we get them in year 1, there is a significant portion of our children who are already behind, who are not ready to learn. What do you think are the odds, Sandra, that you're going to ever catch that child up? Now, people may say, "Oh, but you got 13 years." Age 0 to 5, this is research. This is not guesswork. This is not me saying this. Go and check with any credible educator or education system. It's known that humans develop more in age 0 to 5 than any other period of their life. That's when you learn to walk, talk, color, become cognitive, form thoughts, and be a human being. And so hearing that our children were coming in and already behind, and a significant portion were coming in and already behind, was alarming. Secondly, going to a large, the majority of government schools on Grand Cayman, to be reminded, oh, by the way, we don't offer reception. You don't offer reception at government schools. That is what led. It was those meetings. They were called historic meetings at the time because no minister of education had ever done that, had ever gone to every single school and met separately with every senior management team and every teacher body without their bosses in the room, to get them to open up and give you the real information, what's happening on the ground, not the fluff and the cover up, not the fluff and the cover up, right? And so what came out of that was, I then went to my caucus. My caucus completely agreed. We then planned within the ministry, and we said, okay, if we're going to do this, we need to have an early childhood care and education unit established in the ministry. We needed to have an early childhood care and education curriculum framework, and the government needed to get back in offering reception. That is when I went to the UK at the time, when we were under serious budgetary constraints because we had to get every year's budget approved by the UK. We already had the John Gray and Clifton Hunter High School construction fiasco going on. And so when I went to the UK, and I said to the then Minister for the Overseas Territories that I needed special permission to be able to borrow an additional $14+ million for school plan, he almost fell off his chair because he looked at me and said, but you already have $40+ million approved for the high schools. Once I explained what had happened in our school visits and what was happening on the ground, and the fact that this was having the biggest negative impact in our community, the biggest negative impact on our children's lives, he then quickly agreed, and we got permission, and we then built expansions at the Sir Johnny Cumber Primary School, the Marie Martin Primary School, the Theoline McCoy Primary School, the Joanna Clarke Primary School, and a new canteen at the East End Primary School. That work came about because of direct, honest feedback from the teaching body at every single primary school. So I lead off at that, Sandra, to ensure that they understand. Be open, be candid. Tell me what's happening. Tell us what's happening on the ground, because that is what's going to inform the next set of policy priorities. What I was also told was our children are being pushed out of the system. Those who do well soar. Those who are not prepared are sent to try to find a job at 16 years old. No second chances.
Right.
Secondly, those who are doing extremely well aren't challenged. And so that's why I created SciFec at the time. Created SciFec to ensure we had second chances for Caymanian children to reset math, English, etc. Our early start then also on TechVoc, because we've been talking about this we talked about this for decades, that we didn't have any trade school and children weren't getting streamed toward the trades. And so that's what SciFec is. That's what SciFec was created to do. Now, the second phase of SciFec development has not happened in the last 12 years, which means we should have had a second year added on to SciFec so it could morph into our national trade school, our national center for TechVoc instruction, right? The other strand that I developed at the time was the dual entry program, where those children who were doing extremely well could, in the final year of compulsory education, go on and get a jump start at UCCI for an associate's degree or do their A-levels. And so all of that, again, Sandra, came out of school visits. Because when high school teachers say to me, look, your children are going out, and you know this, everybody knows this, mother's done anything about it. They're going out at 16 plus years old to be expected to be an adult. They're not being given any opportunity for a reset. We're starting them off at a disadvantage. Then when they get to the very end, we push them out. That's how you form proper policy in education, in my opinion. You have to meet with teachers. You have to give them that safe space so that they can inform the policy priorities of the government. And I can say to you, just in 3 schools, we are going to be tripling down on early childhood care and education. Sandra,
can we just one comment is coming in saying,
sure.
When last has Ralston gone to meet with teachers per his promise to do so? So I think they may have missed that part. So can we just reiterate your school visits in terms of when they started and how they're going?
So they started a couple of weeks ago at West End Primary School, and you can pop up the picture at Joanna Clarke. I was at Joanna Clarke on Monday. There I am. And I was at Sir John A. Cumber Primary School yesterday. So here's been the reality of what I've had to do as a minister. With April 30th being election month, election date, sorry. The first thing you have to do is you have to out fires, find what's the hot spots, and the chief officer then has to get schools ready for September. That's a lot of work. That's not something you snap your finger and it happens. So she and the team had to do a lot of work around who was up for promotion, who would become the new principals, who would be new deputies. So reorging our entire system is the piece of work they took on between May and July. In the meantime, I was ensuring that I came to grips with budget, holding a finance committee. Once we then got all that bedded down, I rolled straight into the budget process from September to November. And so I made principals know that school visits were going to start calendar year 2026. And so that's why we've now started our school visits. They're all going to be completed, God's willing, by the end of March. And we're also going to incorporate, because the other thing that happens as part of how I take stock of education, as I did last time, I'm also going to be meeting with school councils for all of the high schools and visiting every single PTA. I have to visit with everyone. It's hard work, but you have to show up, Sandra. This business of not showing up at events and not taking the time to actually really be immersed in the system. Being immersed in the system is how you come up with the best policy priorities and push forward an agenda that's going to work for children. I say to people all the time, the work that we put in and reintroducing reception back in 2013 is already starting to show fruits, but it takes about 12 years.
So this person's questions is a little bit more specific. So they've sent some additional feedback. So they want to know, this is what they've said here. They said, not a photo op walkthrough. School visit isn't a photo op. Sit and meet with the teachers. So will that be like a separate?
Sandra, I know that you always say, pay attention, class. Do you want me to repeat what both of us just went through? Every meeting starts out with us going, so myself, minister in DES, we walk the school campus because I have to see the school campus, because I know there's going to be feedback around some improvements, some additional classrooms, something that teachers and or the senior team are going to want to see. Plus, it's good to pop into schools, to classrooms. We then end at that point, the tour, the Department of Education staff leave. I can't expect a teacher a principal and their senior team to be upfront, open and honest and comfortable if their immediate supervisors are sitting right there in the room. So the only people that actually meet with principals and teachers are myself, the chief officer, and the deputy chief officer. So we then meet with the principal and the senior team, whoever is designated as deputy principals, math specialists, etc. And that's usually at a primary school. That's usually somewhere between 5 to 7 individuals.
Right. And will the average?
They then leave, and then we meet with teachers, just classroom teachers. Again, we assure that they're given their safe space. They are not there with their principal. We ensure we have a safe space that we assure them that everything that they say is going to be heard, the impact is going to be there, and we assure them that nothing they say is attributable to them. You have to create a safe space, and it has to be built on trust. I'm lucky that in each of the schools that I've gone to, there are teachers who were in the system when I did this 12, 16 years ago. And that helps because newer teachers can feel comfortable because they know that older teachers have been through this, more experienced teachers, and there's never been any reprisal or anything like that. You have to create safe spaces for the principal and the senior management team, and then separately for teachers. So I think I've said that 3 times now, Sandra. So hopefully that point is now made. That is how a school visit happens. It is not a photo op. It is about the hard work of meeting with all of our educators so they have direct impact, direct connection to me.
All right. Marshall said he did mention that. Pay attention, students.
Thank you very much, Marshall.
Marshall's an A student. I hope you know. So let's do a few more comments as well. This person says, people are obviously listening to the conversation. Give me one just quick second here, Minister. You know, I like to put our comments up on screen to make sure the class can read them for themselves. So this individual, he makes the following comment. He says the photo op comment is harsh. The same person can say, why they not doing nothing? Then you show a photo of something being done and it's a photo op. So, all right. So we have this lengthy one, but the person asked for it to be read. Says, good morning. I'm watching the minister and I'd like to ask him to please make sure visits to the Sir John A. Cumber Primary School in West Bay. More visits, he says. This person says, let me tell you what happened to my child on Tuesday. Another child, 9-year-old, pulled his pants down in front of the other kids. The day Wednesday, another child kicked him in his stomach. Oh my goodness. And on top of that, he's asthmatic. Yesterday, another child kicked him on his ankle and have him in pain today. And on top of that, nothing has been done. You know why nothing has been done? Racism. They're very racist in that school. Another thing, the teachers don't even listen when they're getting complaints about the other child is bullying another child. It's like none of their business. And all now, I don't get a call from the last 2 incidents. And I went to the school yesterday and they told me they would call me. All now, my phone hasn't rang. Also, please post, maybe I'll get a call to resolve the problem because I have more to say. So it seems like this child is being targeted, is being bullied, and this parent is saying,
well, Sandra, let's there were some big words there, Sandra. Targeted, etc. I mean, listen, Sandra, we have over 5,000 children between the ages of 4 to 16 in our system. Incidents are going to happen when you have that number of children. Let's start with that. There's not going to be an incident-free education system. Kids are going to be kids. Kids are going to not be as regulated as they should versus one child versus the other. A lot of that starts because of whom? Some of that could be because the child themselves has some underlying biological issue that we need to ensure that we detect earlier and help children. And I'll come to that in a minute. What's here, Sandra, is yes. Do I get complaints? Yes. Is me visiting every school going to stop incidents? No. I'm going to visit schools as much as I can, but at the same time, I have a job to do, which is to ensure that we set a policy framework to get behavior better, to get children to interact better. What I can say is, and I will defend our system to the max, I reject anything called racism at the Sir John A. Cumber Primary School. I know that principal. I know a lot of those teachers. That's a very, very serious charge, and people ought to look at the definition of those words. We have a mixed teacher body there. Yeah, what I saw in front of me were Caymanians. Yeah, I was proud of the number of young Caymanians that I saw. I'll come to that in a minute, Sandra. But I saw persons American, English, I think one may have been Canadian, and West Indian teachers. So I'm not quite sure how that then makes this sound and look like a racist establishment. So, Sandra, this is why I always say I'm very, very careful and cautious about public utterances around our schools. People say this about private schools, but then when you say it about government schools, then it's all of a sudden government schools are bad, right? The fact is, incidents will happen. I feel sorry for what has happened to this child. I certainly am going to ensure that when I come off the show, that the principal is aware of the issue, acts on the issue, and communicates with the parent. Now, the parent has said there's not been adequate communication. That is unacceptable. That piece of it is unacceptable. When we have incidents in our school, and I've made this a point, every time I get a WhatsApp or a call or an email around an incident, I get on the senior team and I say, get to the DES and the school. Parents should not have to reach out to me. To me, that for me is a failure when a parent has to reach out to me. Any incident that happens should be adequately managed at the school level and communicate with parents to ensure that we're resolving. Now, we may not come to a resolution that makes everybody 100% happy, but at least if you are communicating, people feel heard, they feel seen, because as is the case with students and parents, students and teachers, parents must feel heard and seen as well, because it is a community. If we're going to build a school community and a school system of purpose, it involves families, which is a child, parents, grandparents and guardians, and our educators. Critically important for us to be successful. But I certainly will take time to ensure that the principal gets on top of this, because it seems like this one may have slipped.
All right. Yeah. I mean, to be clear, the mother obviously feels like her child is being targeted because it's multiple instances of this happening. So very, very unfortunate. Hopefully she can get some resolution there.
Every child must feel safe.
Yes,
Every
absolutely.
child must feel safe at school.
Yeah. Yeah. You see, I'm kind of a crazy parent, Minister. I'll admit that I keep very close track on situations with my daughter, because I might be that parent that goes to school and kicks a kid myself, and I never want to do that. So, that's why you gotta deal. The administrators have to deal with it, and parents have to feel confident that is actually being done. All right, here's another comment that has come in. This person says, "Good morning, Miss Sandra. Can you please ask the minister if it is possible to do a swap with SciFec by year 7 and 9, going there and SciFec students continue to stay in high school? Just a thought. When will the mandatory 2 years start? As a parent, I'm excited.
Very good question. The bottom line of that question, Sandra, is streaming. When do we start to stream? Anyone that has listened to my journey as minister knows that I'm a huge fan of the Finnish education system. Visited it. I was there for a week, and it was one of the most impactful experiences I had. But let me take a step back, because in 2009, I recognized that we were floundering and failing miserably at early childhood care and education. UNESCO put on the very first global early childhood education conference. They had something like over 1,300 participants, ministers from, I think it was over 100 plus countries. We descended on Moscow, of all places. So it was held in Moscow. Part of the reason it was held in Moscow was because Moscow, as a city, had a lot of very high functioning early childhood care and education centers. And so when we went on visits, we got to see some stuff, Sandra, that would blow your mind. I'll never forget this. The preschool I visited, every child got a massage every day, just before the sleep period. Every child had to care for themselves with some assistance at school, because they weren't taking chances that everything was happening at home. When you went out into the playground area, they had the normal playground looking equipment, but then they also had what was set up, what looked like a city street. So they had the markings of a road, a sidewalk, stop signs, stop lights. And so they were teaching children road safety and how to navigate the city from then. I just use as an example as to why Moscow was chosen. So we decided that we needed to do a visit, and we were searching at that point as to what country would we visit. Finland became the hotbed for education back in those days because they had shot up the PIMA and PISA charts because of their students' achievement. So after doing research and looking at a number of systems, we decided this would be the system that we would go and visit. And one of the things that the representative from the education department and the Ministry of Education said that was had a huge impact on me, is that they discouraged the model of streaming children before you give them the opportunity to be exposed to the full curriculum and the full education experience. Their point was very simple. Every child develops at a different stage. Some are late bloomers. And so if you don't have the confidence to give all your children that full education experience, and then when they reach that age, you then say, okay, now what decision has to be made? What route do you take? Now, what I can say to the author of the message is, one of the things that I've said to the team is we need to do a better job at identifying children who learn differently and maybe struggle in some areas, and start ensuring during their general provisioning of education that we're not meeting their needs more sensibly and not just trying to put them through the traditional pathway in every subject. So what do I mean by that? So you, right now in classrooms, Sandra, if you go to a primary school, so you go to Sir John Cumber Primary School, you will walk into, right now, as we speak, to a classroom that will have, let's say, 22 children. And you may see the teacher with 15 of those children. You may then see an assistant teacher in the corner with the other 7 of those children doing something different, differential instruction, right? As we deliver differential instruction, we need to keep a focus on children who learn differently to meet their needs, because that'll improve their outcomes. We also need to keep a very close eye on children who just continue to struggle. Who continue to struggle, and let's find areas that's going to build their confidence. They may be struggling in math and reading and writing, and we can't ever give up on that, right? So they may be struggling in that area, but they may be wonderful at art. They may be a student who absolutely loves music. Yet another area that we're underserved in the system that I'm looking to address on this tour again, on this time as minister again. So alternate pathways of instruction are the key. Let's get all of our children and give them every possible opportunity. Because think about this, Sandra. I'm not suggesting we're starting to stream people at 20 years old. If you look at it, our policy position, and this is what SciFec is we stream children at 16 plus. That's still a very, very young human being. Okay, let's be very, very clear. You're not legal and adult in this country until you're 18. Right. That's still a very young human being. That's why I want to get SciFec, and that's why the original vision for SciFec was 2 years, was to ensure that children were in mandatory education until they became an adult and get that second year of SciFec added on. The second part of the question was, when do I think that we'll get that started? I'm hoping that we'll be able to do all of the work around programming and infrastructure between now and 2028, and for the 2028 budget, be able to afford then the additional year and have that built into the system. Because the vision is, by then, the Ministry of Caymanian Employment will have the National Manpower Database and all that up and running, so that we can then have a vibrant, robust system of work experience and apprenticeships, so that every child in those 2 years can have a meaningful apprenticeship program. So what's government saying to the private sector? Look, we mandate, and I personally am of the view, but let's wait and see how this all emerges. I'm of the view that we have to mandate the placements, because I think a lot of companies simply won't do it, but that's just me. We mandate placements. That then removes one of the big barriers for employment that we've heard with Caymanians: no experience. Well, if you're an apprentice for 2 years and getting instruction at SciFec at a course that the industry has said is the course that they want, tell me what the excuse is then to not hire the Caymanian. So that's the overall vision as to why SciFec was always envisioned in my mind to be a 2-year program. And don't forget, Sandra, back then, labor was also within my ministry. And so this was how I was bringing together the Ministry of Education, Training, and Employment, as it was called at the time, or labor.
Okay. A few more questions coming in. Jim has a comment here. Jim says there's a comment made by the parent about that one other child had pulled down his pants. A 9-year-old knows better than that, especially in front of other children where there may be girls present. Early red flags of this type of behavior should not be overlooked. Children who sometimes are overlooked, the slow learners, the daydreamers, need to be checked out for ADHD, ADD, Asperger's, autism, or other possible disorders. And sometimes just behavioral issues, they're disruptive because of something that's happening at home, or, bullies become bullies. A lot of times they're being bullied by somebody else, or they're being abused by someone else. And how they respond to that is they potentially take it out on someone that they see weaker than them. But definitely further investigation sounds like it's required. So this parent says, we invest heavily in educating our students, but when they return home, there doesn't seem to be a clear program to guide them into career alignment with their fields of study. Is there an initiative that helps returning scholarship students transition into the workforce within their areas of qualification? My daughter recently graduated from university and is finding it difficult to secure a firm where she can complete her articles. Many of the firms were contacted have responded that they were too small or do not offer an articleship program. Does the Ministry of Education maintain a list of firms that provide articles, or is there a source that can assist graduates in identifying these opportunities? Well, I can kind of speak to this one a little bit, Minister, if you let me, because one of the things as someone who, has a law degree, and whilst I didn't do articles, what I do know is a lot of the law firms will have a pathway for people that they sponsor. So you've got to get ahead of the ball years in advance. So you can't wait until you graduate and then come back thinking you can just get articles like that. Absolutely not. So their sponsored students are on a longer pathway of career development. So they'll sponsor them through, their degree programs through university. They give them first preference at articles. And then they've got the next batch coming up. So if you want to get into those firms that offer, and it tends to be the larger firms, if you want to get into those programs, you've got to apply years in advance. Even if you just want to be considered for articles, if you didn't go through the scholarship option, you should reach out to them. I would say probably before year one, even like if your child is, they've got their mindset on going to law school, you should try to make inquiries and connections then to say in 3 years time, in 4 years time, will you have opportunities for articles, a clerkship, or, start to explore your options then, because they're planning well in advance. I know this from personal experience, having worked in a law firm and having seen how their scholarship programs work. And then, yes, there also is a capacity issue, because a lot of the smaller firms, because of how articles work and the different seats that you have to do. So you've got to do like trusts and corporate, and, a lot of those other law firms, if they're very singular in the type of law that they do, they don't have the capacity. Sometimes they can do hybrid. So they'll say you can come in for this 3-month seat and do civil with us. And then, you have to go to another law firm, but all those things need planning. But Minister, I'll let you jump in.
Sandra, you hit the nail on the head. And this is across all industries. The earlier children can get connected to companies, the greater the chances of employment. We're humans. We typically employ people we know. If a young person has been with you for a summer internship program, just that alone greatly improves the chances you're going to hire them. Why? Because you've now met them. You've seen what they're like. You've seen their demeanor. You've seen their personality. You've seen how they fit into your particular company. So as it relates to law, Sandra, I don't need to repeat what you said. You did that brilliantly. The one thing that I would add is that this is a key initiative that myself and Minister Miles are working on. We're working on trying to ensure that we roll out a national summer internship program where we can get every Caymanian student who's on a scholarship into some form of internship, because we think that helps to address the issue we're talking about, because we get people connected to companies. Let me take a step back. One of the things that I've had to say from the time I was minister last time, and I'll say it now, and I say it to parents all the time. Sandra, a lot of parents have this concept, and then they advise their children, look, remain a free agent. Just be on the government scholarship, and then you can pick and choose where you work at the end. That's never a good plan, to your point. You want to be involved with a firm very early on so that they will hire you. The fact is, the ideal scenario is that, first of all, you get a scholarship from one of these firms. That's the ideal scenario, because now they're investing in you. If you don't want to get in one of their scholarships, so you're in a government scholarship, you definitely want to apply to their summer internship program, because every one of the large firms run summer internship programs, and they don't just have their scholarship students in as interns. I know that for a fact, because I know what my daughter has gone through over the last 3 years. Right? She's seen other scholarship recipients in with the firm that she's with, but she's also seen other kids who are not on scholarship getting that opportunity. Right? So all the big firms offer this. And so that's critically important. But to directly answer the question, no, there's no central repository of articleships in Cayman. What I'm hoping is that the new law society that has been formed under the Legal Act, the Legal Practitioners Act, is that they will take on the role through their education committee to ensure that they're getting that sort of feedback from their members, because they're the most natural entity to collect that information and be open and transparent about it. As it relates to other professions, the exact same thing we've said applies, Sandra. If you see the Butterfield Scholarship advertised, apply for it. Because trust me, if they invest in you, more than likely, they're going to want a return on that investment, which is to give you a job, right? So I don't think I think at every opportunity, Sandra, we need to pound that point. Option A, have a scholarship tying you to a company. Option B, if you don't have that privilege, try to get internships and try to get it at the same company. Because if you can work with them on a summer internship 1, 2, 3 years in a row, that just continues to build a relationship with that company that could lead then to employment. But let me get back to the National Manpower Database. One of the things that I'm working feverishly on, and the Scholarship Secretariat, is getting a new system. I'm not happy to report that the current system that we use to administer scholarships is an add-on product offered by SurveyMonkey, the company SurveyMonkey. They offer a suite of products that is they can customize. They do some programming on the back end for you, Sandra, to make certain things work for companies. So I didn't know this until after the election, to be honest. I didn't know SurveyMonkey offered these sorts of services. I've clicked on buttons and taken their surveys, but I've never gone in and searched them as a corporate entity to figure out what they do. So I was very shocked when I found that SurveyMonkey was our scholarship administration provider. Right now, we've started the work to ensure that we build our own bespoke system. We have to have a credible, reliable, impactful system. Right now, for example, if I want reports, my staff have to go put together a bunch of scripts to then spit out information, and it's not the type of reporting any of us would want. I want to have a database that I can call up the scholarship secretary tomorrow and say, tell me who's graduating with a mechanical engineering degree between 2027 and 2030 and has a GPA of 3.0 and higher. I can't do that right now. I don't have that type of data available to me. That's baseline data, Sandra. So that's a huge piece of work they're undertaking. We've just started it. So we've just actually gotten a high-level document looking at how we approach it. And now we need to get a business analyst to look at it and break it down and come up with a meaningful proposal so that we can then either go to the computer services department or outsource the building of the database that is going to then have on the front end, it will be the application process. On the back end, it'll be the reporting element. And then we need to tie it in to the National Manpower Database so that all of government is finally going to be seamless and we have information. Because right now, I can tell the country, I don't have good data around scholarships. That's just a fact. I don't believe in lying and sugarcoating and sweeping things under the rug. That's where we are. We need to do better. We need to get this system built out. I mean, what students see works. So it works to process. It works to then keep kids going, young people going through the system and getting their monies out. But in terms of a robust, good database that is world class, that can work for what the human capital needs are, we don't have that. And that's something that we're working feverishly to address and correct. That's really all I can say on that at this point.
All right. A few more questions, and I'm cognizant of the time because I've got a hard stop myself today. But this person says, good morning, Sandy. Can you please ask the minister if the government has a work experience program in the last 2 years of high school, as this is a good opportunity to make connections for future job or scholarships. I got employed from a work experience program back in the day.
Right. And so that is exactly what I'm saying. SciFec needs to become a 2-year program to do exactly what this author is saying. Now, what I can say is, yes, there are some kids who go out early on work experience, etc., but that's a small percentage. What we have to do is have this systemized so that every parent knows that at the end of high school, you're either doing dual entry and going on and doing your associates at UCCI, going on and doing your A levels, or you're going through a SciFec program that will have you doing resets and technical and vocational studies of your choice with work experience tagged on.
Mm-hmm. All right. Another one says, morning, let the minister know that when he visits the schools to let the principals know to act normal. I don't think they're going to be listening to the minister, but here we go. To act normal and not put on a fake show so he's able to see what the operations are like, especially at Clifton Hunter, because that principal is a class act. Ooh. He needs to see what's working and what's not. Also ask the minister if there will be any financial considerations to children who have completed year 11 with great grades but want to pursue athletics overseas, which will require them to do over a grade or 2 in high school to get the athletic experience prior to university. Not necessarily a full scholarship, but a financial grant? ?
So, Sandra, we have a number of asks as a country that I now have to prioritize. And one of the more difficult jobs as being a minister, especially in this area, is having to say, here is what funding needs to go to because we're going to have the widest possible impact on the greatest number of children. I can tell the country that I did inherit a number of these types of arrangements, and I can assure the author that in 2 instances, they're more than a scholarship, i.e. they're more than 30,000 CI. That's not sustainable. That is not sustainable. We can't, as a country, sustain taking young Caymanians and for more than $30,000 fund them to go and complete high school in the United States or Canada. What I can say is that if a child and their family come up with a robust program that can definitively put them on a pathway that is better than our national coaching here and have solid education and want a grant, that is something that I will consider. But what I have been presented with are, let's just put it this way, Sandra. The United States is very good, and a lot of other countries, but I can only speak to the one that I've seen and that I kind of know a lot more about. They're very good in the education space of creating institutions and creating what looks like specialist institutions. And some of them are, I mean, some of them are, do hire in very decent coaches, but then they charge a premium price. So they'll say to a parent, look, if your child is in the state of Florida, let's say, and you're an extremely good sprinter, and we have these coaches, and now we're going to develop a program, come put your child with our coaches because that's going to give them a better chance to get a scholarship at a D1 school. But here's the price you have to pay. And the price is usually pretty significant. So, I will look at those things on an ad hoc basis. What I've said to the Minister of Sports is that we right now don't have any real measures as to what elite athleticism looks like. In other words, track and field is pretty easy, right? If you run the 100 meters under X, if you run the 1500 at a time, 1500 meter at a time of X or below, you could start saying, okay, this child is an elite athlete, right? Where it becomes extremely subjective is team sports, basketball, football, volleyball. How do you differentiate and say taxpayer money should be given to a high schooler to go overseas to pursue high school education and we pay for it? Because remember, there's only so much resources to go around, right? Just as I'm sitting here, wait until the minister responsible for social development comes on and tells you about the crisis we have for seniors assisted living in Cayman. The Minister of Health will come on and talk about all the things that she needs to do to ensure that she can secure us health-wise. And so government is about competing priorities. If we could put all the government funding toward one thing, you could then fund the heck out of it. But we have to budget responsibly to cater to all of our needs. And so my thought process on that is the Minister of Sports, this is not passing the buck. I'm not the Minister of Sports, and we've had this conversation, right? What I've said to him is, in seeing these requests, because he gets them more than me, actually, but in seeing these requests, they need to come up with some measures so that we can truly say and identify what elite athletes look like, especially in team sports. Individual sports, you can simply set a mark. You can say if you qualify for Carifta or whatever. What I'm just using an example. That's very easy to measure. You either throw the javelin the distance or further or not. Where it's football and you're a defender or you're a midfielder or you're a striker, it becomes much more subjective, and it's a challenge for him. I can tell you that. I mean, I'm glad I don't have to take that one on. But what I've said to him is perhaps take a panel approach. So get 9 or so respected individuals who know the technical aspects of different sports, make them through observation, then do a report so that they can then say, okay, yes, this child in this sport is truly an elite athlete and therefore would be worthy of such consideration. Because the fact is there's tons of very good players across differing sports. But who rises to that level that now you're going to take thousands of taxpayers' dollars and send them overseas at high school level to be able to be funded? Because remember, this isn't scholarship recipients who happen to play at a sport. We're talking about high schoolers now and government taking that funding. So I hope that answers the questions. And I hope, to me, that's the most fair, balanced approach that I can take to the matter.
Okay. Let's do a few comments. And then, Minister, I know we didn't get through everything, but hopefully you'll be visiting us again soon.
Absolutely.
God Na Sleep says SciFec places 240 to 250 students on work placement each year. Miss Brenda, good morning. Miss Brenda says the law firms don't want to article the Caymanian students as they used to, just another way of keeping the Caymanian down. Don't be fooled to think it's for any other reason. Plus, if they treat a Caymanian, they can't justify a work permit. Well, again, as someone who's very, very familiar with the industry, what I can tell you is when I started, and I know I was at Maples, they didn't even have a structured program there because Miss Sharon Pearson was the managing partner at the time. And even when it came to my work breaks, I was combining like my little vacation time plus taking time off. And she said, no, you shouldn't have to take vacation time towards study leave, but they didn't quite have it firmed up, so they started to do things. And then they said, no, they were going to give me some time to study. And as the years have gone on, they actually now have a proper program in place where you have standard operating procedures, and they article way more students than they used to, because back in those days there were not really a lot. So I know the amount of students that are articled has actually increased, especially for the larger firms, because they have a better, well-organized program in place. I think what's happening is you're having more and more Caymanians who are wanting to enter that profession. And so you have a lot of people now who are looking for articles, whereas back in the day, maybe you only had 5 people a year who were looking for those opportunities. Now it's probably 10, 20, maybe even more than that. Balika, good morning. Says government must assure law graduates articles. Sometimes in legal, we had only 1 or 2 each year. Now that I'll agree with. I think the government, you have both the DPP's office, the Attorney General's office, and there are probably other places that they could potentially do articles. I mean, sometimes you have to get creative when it comes to that aspect of it, that there's a potential, I think government needs to have a proper program of articleship available to law students. And also even on the medical side, there's a lot of complaints about people going away to study medicine and then can't come back and get any work experience anywhere, especially in the government hospital. So something to think about. Minister, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Lots of questions and comments. Yes, the courts as well. Thank you so much for that. One, they can go in the courts and do articles, because I think Mr. Charles Clifford may have done part of his articles in the court system as well. And that's important, especially if you want to potentially be a litigator, knowing how it all works. You've got financial services courts, drug courts, grand court, summary court. There's a whole slew of things there that certainly you can get a really good hands-on experience with. Minister of Education and Training, the Honorable Ralston Anglin, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me on, Sandra. I hope that I provided a flavor for what's been happening over the last 2 months in particular. We are going to be getting back to our regular programming and me coming on much more regularly. In particular on the finance side as well. But I want to just read a message that I got this morning. And it says, "Thank you, Minister. Teachers shared how much they enjoyed speaking with you, the Chief Officer and the Deputy Chief Officer, and they felt heard." And that's the impact of meeting and creating safe spaces with senior teams and teachers. They felt heard, they feel heard. You take what they're saying seriously. It's not a talk shop. It's not just a grand tour for PR and photo ops. This is serious business. The most important part of me being Minister of Education, I have no fear of contradiction at this point because I lived it for 4 years, are my official school meetings. Those are the most important because that's where the rubber meets the road and I get to speak to and be right in front of several hundred practitioners by the time we're done.
Thank you.
But I wish for you and everyone a great weekend.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you too.
Happy and healthy weekend. I know Valentine's Day is coming up.
Yes,
so
tomorrow.
For you gentlemen out there, go ahead and get yourselves your Valentine. For you ladies out there, treat the guys too.
Absolutely. Love it. Thank you so much, Minister. Have a safe and wonderful weekend. And again, for the benefit of our listeners, Miss Saroni says, fabulous show this morning. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Just again, please be reminded that there's a serious police investigation happening in the vicinity of Mary Street and that Shedden Road area. We've just posted something on social, so check our social media channels for the details there. But the best thing to do, as with all of these things, is simply stay out of the way so that the police can carry out their investigations unencumbered. And yes, of course, we have more details than we're saying right now, but we'll provide those details as the day develops. So again, we appreciate the minister coming on the program. This is a segment called Ministry Matters, and we have invited all of the government ministers to participate in this. We know that the Honorable Isaac Rankin will be coming on in due course. We've seen recently the Honorable Jay Ebanks has come on. Yesterday I met with the team for Minister Nicholas DaCosta. They are very, very interested in coming on now. People are starting to see the benefit. The government ministers, their chief officers, their entire communication teams are really seeing the benefit of coming here and meeting you where you are, you the viewers, and providing you with this information, having the level of engagement where we're able to put your questions to them. And they're not always going to have the answers, but if they don't have the answers, I can tell you one thing for sure is they're going to go away and come back with something. So, that's most that we can ask for. But this government, this coalition government, seems to be really focused and working hard. And as I've said in the past, we're going to give them an opportunity. They've got 4 years. They're only 1 year in, and they've done a lot in a year thus far. And there's still much more that has to be done and much more to go. So again, this is one minister who's never shied away from the program and who comes and takes on your comments, your criticisms, everything that you throw at him, and he responds as forthrightly as he can. So Minister Anglin, we appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Have a beautiful weekend. And folks, please go out and be safe. Wednesday, I do want to remind you that Wednesday is Ash Wednesday. So that means that we have the annual agriculture show this year. It's going to be the 57th annual Cayman Islands Agriculture Show from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. And it's going to be a full day of food, farming, culture, and community at the grounds there in Lower Valley. Entry is only $10 for adults. This is one thing. They're not increasing the prices. I think this is great. $5 for children 12 and under. 2 and under are free, as well as seniors over 65. Raffle tickets are available for $25. So if you want to get a chance at winning some good money, you buy the raffle ticket, right? Not just the regular entry. And of course, it is hosted by the Cayman Islands Agricultural Society in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture. It's a fun time for the family, shows a lot of Caymanian pride and lots of prizes to be won. So please check them out on their social media channels, Facebook and Instagram. And we also have posted the ride and what's it called? Let me look at my page and I'll tell you, because we have posted this already. It is the share ride. Okay, hold on, let me get it for you. But basically, you park at a designated area, you jump on a bus, and you will get there with, less traffic. So make sure that you get out there and utilize those services. All right, that's what I got for you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Plead and Straight. Says thank you, Minister Anglin. Safe travels, Sandy. See you guys on Monday. We'll be doing our show remotely. So make sure you tune in on Monday morning. Have a beautiful weekend.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.